Hey, moms. Hey, everyone. How are you? Welcome to Homeschooling Well. I'm Leah Lavero. I am so excited today. This is probably my most exciting, favorite Facebook Live that I've ever gotten to do, talking to you about how to get started homeschooling. So, first, I want to say welcome to homeschooling. So, I know not everybody probably has made the decision 100% yet to actually start homeschooling, but I just want to say welcome to homeschooling, welcome to the tribe, because when I started homeschooling, I would have killed for someone to say that to me. I was so excited to get started. I was so nervous to get started. I was so overwhelmed getting started, and I felt all alone. And even though I had some friends and some family that were homeschooling, um, they didn't say welcome to homeschooling. I wanted to be welcomed in with open arms and to join a community and join a tribe. So I say that to you. And I say that because homeschooling really is a really close knit community and an amazing tribe of women to join who are so supportive. If you have been able to join a community yet on Facebook, other than the Homeschooling Well community, but any other communities, and you pop your questions into those communities, women will just start helping you right away, answering your questions. And it's just amazing. And everyone's so supportive of each other, especially right now. Online community is basically all that we have. So we have to kind of grab what we can get right now. So I just want to say welcome to you, and I'm so excited. Um, I know some of you want me to slow down because you haven't actually fully made the decision and the commitment to homeschool. And I just want to say, right now, if you're teaching your kids at home, I'm sure that you know this. I'm sure you're well aware. Uh, Whatever you want to call this, isolation schooling, lockdown schooling, I don't know what you want to quarantine schooling. It has absolutely nothing to do with true homeschooling, except that you're in the house with the kids and they're getting educated. But other than that, it's so completely unrelated. It's so difficult for all of us who are full-time homeschoolers, permanent homeschoolers, to even do, um, just because of it just feels weird. Everything feels weird right now, and it definitely seeps into our homeschools. We're really, really used to getting out and doing things, field trips, being with friends all the time, with friends all the time. And now we're with no one. So it's weird and it's hard for all of us. So please, if you're on the fence because it's been so difficult to have your kids home with you, please, please know that that has nothing to do with true homeschooling. I know that people have been saying that online, so I'm sure you've gotten that message loud and clear. But really, uh, it it's just changed our family dynamic so much for the better, and I just want that for you as well. I read a book when it was, I guess, when I was still making the decision whether or not to homeschool. I read a homeschooling book that was free on Kindle Unlimited. So unfortunately, I don't even know what book it was, but it said something in it. The author said something to the effect of, whatever your hopes and dreams, your aspirations are for your homeschool, whatever you're hoping to happen in your family, in your family life, in your relationships, it will be 100 times what you're expecting it to be. And when I read that, I was thinking, wow, that would be amazing. I hope that's true. And then it was completely true. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. So I don't have enough time to go into details here, but it has really been transformative in our lives. And I hope that it will be in yours as well. So you want to know how to get started homeschooling. You want to know how to actually do it. And what's probably entered your mind most, and if you've been in online communities, you're thinking of curriculum. Probably you're probably thinking, what curriculum can I find that's going to be magical for homeschool? What's everybody else doing? What's going to be the best thing for my kids? What's going to be the best thing for each individually? What about the group? How do I do this thing? And the truth is that curriculum is such a tiny piece of homeschooling. And even though it feels like it's the first thing that you should be thinking about, it actually, there's a lot more foundation that can be laid first before you start to think about homeschool or curriculum. And I want to talk about that today. So when I started homeschooling, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking our days are just going to be exactly the same. I had a bunch of young kids. Two of them were in school and I pulled them out. But for the most part, they were ages 2 to 6 and nope, 2 to 8. And I pulled them out and I just thought it's going to be our normal day plus a good curriculum that I'm going to be teaching from. And that actually wasn't the case at all. So if you've been schooling your kids at home, I just want you to think the school has provided curriculum for your kids, that they're provided what they need to learn from every single day, either online or in packets or whatever is going on in your school district. And that's provided for you. The curriculum is provided, and it's still crazy, right? Because even with the curriculum provided, you don't have to find a magical curriculum. It's provided for you. The truth is, the difficult part of homeschooling is the organization and the scheduling and being consistent. And those are the things that I want to help you lay a foundation of before you even start homeschooling, and hopefully, maybe before you purchase any curriculum that you're thinking about. So I created this. I'm really excited about this. I created a free resource for you, a guide called How to Get Started Homeschooling, and it's going to be available in the comments of this live video, and then I'll do another post later on the Facebook page. But that's a really meaty, beefy, juicy. That's how I describe it. Thick and comprehensive guide to laying a foundation for a homeschool that you will love. So I really hope that you grab that. After that, it's going to be so much more after this. It's going to be so much more detailed than what I'm about to talk to you about here, because I don't want to. I could do this for hours. I could talk for hours, and I could talk about homeschooling for hours because I'm so passionate about it. But if you grab that, it's going to give you in more detail what I'm about to talk about right now. So the way that I like to look at homeschooling is that it really boils down to having a successful homeschool that you love. And when I say successful, I don't mean academically successful. I mean, whatever your version of success is, which is one of the things that you need to think about, and I'll talk about in a second. But what your version of success is, what's going to make the atmosphere that you want in your household and your homeschool, what's going to make your heart sing, what's going to make your relationships strong, and what's going to educate your kids. But not educate your kids in a miserable way. What's going to educate your kids in the way that you would consider successful. So there are 4 areas of our lives that contribute to having that successful homeschool that you love. The first is your mindset. The second is your habits, or are your habits. The third is your organization. And the fourth is yourself, specifically how well you take care of yourself. Because in my mind, the way that I like to look at it is we are, or you are, the most important member of your homeschool, which doesn't sound, we're focused on our kids. It doesn't sound like that's accurate, but as the mom and the leader and the teacher, you set the atmosphere, you set the tone, you set the culture. So if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. So we have to take care of ourselves and think about what's going to make our hearts sing and what we're going to be passionate about and love teaching to our kids. And the truth is, if we're passionate about something, if we're excited about something, it's going to rub off on our kids and they're going to love it. They're going to be excited. They're going to be passionate too. So a lot of times we like to start with the kids when we're setting up the schedule, when we're choosing curriculum. And they're children. They're adaptable. Their moods are going to change. They're going to grow in 6 months. They grow and change so much. It makes more sense to focus on knowing yourself and what's going to make your heart sing and going to be the thing that you want to teach day in and day out, or the method you want to use to teach day in and day out when you're teaching your kids. So I really think it's wonderful if we focus on our mindset, our habits, our organization, and ourselves, taking care of ourselves. So one of the things that's going to make this school year, if you decide to homeschool this year, different than I've ever seen homeschooling before, and I guess everybody's ever seen homeschooling before, is I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I want to be a little bit realistic. We don't know what's going to be open this school year as far as extracurricular activities, field trips, co-ops. Typically in homeschool, when we're just starting out, or even when we've been homeschooling for a long time, we rely heavily on outside activities to educate our kids, to socialize our kids. And a lot of times we even schedule our weeks. If we have co-op, if we find a co-op and we join a co-op, we have co-op one day a week, so that our schedule at home is sort of focused around that, and leaving the house on that day. And then we have field trips added in, and anything else that we decide to do. And this year, I just want you to keep in mind when you're setting up, and you're maybe excited about those opportunities, we have no idea if places are going to open, if they're going to open at half capacity, if co-ops are still going to be able to handle um, kids coming in. I think there's going to be social distancing measures with masks and all kinds of stuff. And some, you might not want to have your kids in the atmosphere. There's a lot of unknowns this year moving forward. And so, more so than any other year that I've ever heard of in the history of homeschooling, where it's going to be more important to focus on what we're doing at home and being happy and content and being able to learn just at home with each other, and not being able to necessarily rely on those outside activities. There's usually a lot of programs at farms, and there's gardening clubs, and state parks have a lot of programs. And we just don't know. We don't know if they're going to start and then they're going to stop. We just don't know. So we can't rely on that this year. So I really want to encourage you, when you're looking forward to how your weeks are going to go or what kind of activities you want to do, certainly plan for those and be excited about those, but also have a really strong foundation of what you want to do just inside of your house or on your property with your kids, the same way that we're having to do right now, which is such a bummer to think about. I don't want to think about it, but I have to think about it. I'm so sorry. Um, so the first thing that you want to think about, pardon me, is why are you homeschooling? Why are you doing this? This is going to be challenging. Absolutely. I feel that because it's so challenging, it's so rewarding. I mean, this is the most rewarding, satisfying thing that I've ever done in my life, which is why I'm so excited about it and so excited for you. But I've definitely had to think about, why the heck am I doing this? There are other alternatives. On the days that are difficult, your mind goes there. So you want to really nail down, why am I doing this? And in that resource that I made for you, How to Get Started Homeschooling, I have questions that you can ask yourself and write into the worksheets to kind of sort out why you're doing this in the first place. In a good way, in a joyful way, and what you're looking forward to over the years, and kind of projecting into the future, what outcome do I want? What words do I want my kids to use about their childhood and about me as their mother to describe this experience that they had growing up and being homeschooled? So thinking that through is going to help you narrow down also when you get to decisions about what time of day you want to start homeschooling and what curriculum you want to choose. Knowing what your purpose in homeschooling is really going to help you make those other decisions fall into place more easily. What's going to inevitably happen is that you're going to want to ask your friends for recommendations. They might want to give you recommendations about curriculum and schedules without you even asking them, which is fine. But what you're going to have to do is know, before you get bombarded with all of that information, what is my purpose in doing this? Because if you're, I'll just use an example. If you're formerly a classroom teacher and you believe that classroom, the way that classrooms are taught, and traditional education is the best way to educate kids, and you want to continue that at home, then you're going to want to choose curriculum with workbooks, or a structure that's textbooks similar to a classroom environment, because that's what you believe, that's what you're comfortable with, and that's the way that you want your children educated. So that's going to narrow down your curriculum choices. If you are someone who had a bad experience in a traditional classroom and you don't want your kids to have that experience, and you're thinking, the atmosphere that I want is cozy, I want to snuggle on the couch under a blanket when we do a lot of reading together, you might want to pick a literature-based curriculum. and go in a completely different direction than that other mom. And so thinking these things through ahead of time and what the outcome of your homeschool is that you want it to be is going to help you narrow down those choices. It's not going to be, oh my gosh, sky's the limit. There's thousands of homeschool curriculums to choose from. Anything could work for us. Anything can't work for you. So think ahead of time. Who you are as a family when you're setting up your schedule. Think about who your kids are. Can they wake up early? A lot of homeschools start at 8:30 in the morning. The first year that we homeschooled, I see comments coming in and I don't know how to respond to them. The first year that we homeschooled, actually probably the first 2 years that we homeschooled, we started at 10:30 in the morning. Guilt-free, I didn't worry about that. I didn't know anybody else that started at 10:30 in the morning, but my oldest son was such a late riser and he came from public school and it was miserable for him to wake up at 8:20 in the morning. It was still not that early. And I just really wanted to give him the opportunity to get the rest that he needed. He went to bed at a wonderful time at night. He just slept a lot. And I wanted to make homeschooling what he needed it to be. So the younger kids got up significantly earlier than him, but we started at 10:30 to accommodate him because it didn't bother anybody else either. I got a lot of chores done in the morning, and I was happy about that. And we didn't have that many hours that we needed to school because the kids were really little. So as they got older, we've had to push it up and push it up, but we still start at 9 o'clock, which is later than a lot of homeschools start, and I don't care. So that's what works for us. And that's fine. We also take a huge break in the middle of the day. We have an hour and a half break. I need to jump on emails with people. I like to throw a load of laundry in, throw a load of dishes in the middle of the day and take a little break from the kids. And we have this big hour and a half break in the middle of the day, which makes our day longer. But I don't care because I personally would rather have like a slower pace with less stress. Other people want to get it done. It's killing them to stretch out the day. So, and I don't begrudge them that. I totally get it. And they will pack the day in and be done at 12:30. And that's amazing for them. But that causes me to have a little bit of too much rushing around. And it's not a good thing. So I would rather go slower and longer. That's fine. So just think about who your family is, who you are, and what's best for you. And you're going to get bombarded with all kinds of suggestions, particularly online. And or you're going to hear other moms talking if we ever are allowed to be with other families again. And you're going to want to do what everybody else is doing. And you've got to know ahead of time what your goals are for your family, or what the atmosphere is that you want to have, what the outcome is in 20 years of what you want your kids to say about this experience, and just focus on that. So that's getting your mindset straight. Your habits are really key to homeschooling because, again, you're the leader, you're the most important member of the homeschool, and it's up to you. Everything's riding on you, which is one of the things that makes homeschooling very challenging. It's one of the things that scares a lot of people out of homeschooling. I don't want to scare you right now if you haven't made the decision 100% yet, but getting your habits to be good habits, to be under control, is key to this thing working every single day, day in and day out. So to me, the most important habit when it comes to the actual homeschooling is consistency. And just learning how to do something every single day. It doesn't have to be at the same exact time every single day. If you want it to be at the same exact time every day, because that helps you, that's great. But it doesn't have to be. But if you teach the child how to read for 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, they will learn how to read. You don't have to have, when you do fits and spurts and you do 30 minutes, 2 days a week to try to cram it in, because they lose knowledge, structure runs out of the homeschool, and they just don't learn as consistently. And I think consistency is a really good habit for us to have as well. It took me a really long time to get like old enough to realize that I needed to have really good habits. And one of the reasons that I love homeschooling so much is that it has pushed me to grow up a little bit. And I was not very mature before I started homeschooling. It has really whipped me into shape because it had to, and it's been amazing. And I totally credit um, homeschooling for giving me that push. Other things did as well, but it's really amazing. But consistency is key to homeschooling and homeschooling well, and to helping your kids learn and retain what they're learning. So there are other habits that we need to have, but I think that's a great place to start and a great place to remain consistent with is your consistency. Um, so that's your habits. And then your organization, there are like 32 levels of organization. But when you're just setting up your homeschool, there's only three things that I want you to think about. And it's all spelled out again in that how to get started homeschooling packet. But you need to decide when you're going to teach, what you're going to teach, and how you're going to keep track of what you're teaching. So, or how you're going to keep track of all the stuff in your homeschool, the paperwork that comes in, and the work that the kids complete. So those are really the only three things that you need to kind of set up before you start homeschooling. There's a whole different level of like bins and clipboards and color coding and laminators and all the office supplies that are super fun to buy and to use. But I'm mainly talking about setting up the foundation of your homeschool, and thinking about these three levels of organization. And again, it would take a while for me to go through here, so I really encourage you to grab that freebie and go through that. I have actual cheat sheets of things to ask yourself, cheat sheets of searches to do when you're looking for curriculum. I have a worksheet of pros and cons and prices of curriculum to help you work that out. Checklists of how to set up your calendar, how to set up your daily schedule, to help you out there and really walk you through that. So that's a great place to go. And then for that kind of help. And then this summer, I will be going live all the time. It's probably going to be more than monthly, to walk you through planning. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. But the homeschool planning in the summer, getting ready for the next school year, I will be on here constantly and giving you worksheets and giving you freebies to figure out your planning for the year and set up your actual. There will be actual tangible, this product is better than this product. These are things that are great to keep on hand. And we'll go through all of that this summer. But right now, we're just talking about the foundation of the organization. And then the final thing that I want to talk to you about is taking care of yourself in this time of homeschooling. It is, you've probably experienced this before, having babies. As soon as you have babies and you have toddlers and you have preschoolers, you lose yourself a little bit. You I, I should say I forgot who I was. I forgot things about myself, what kind of music I liked, what kind of books that I liked to read once upon a time. I forgot all kinds of things about myself. And if you are already living in that stage of life and then you start homeschooling, it's going to get worse. So there really needs to be an effort for taking care of yourself as part of this homeschooling, thinking about setting up your homeschool. So even before you start, it would be amazing if you started thinking about the ways that you can maintain your spiritual health, or even set up a way to take care of your spiritual health, your physical health, your intellectual health, and your relational health. So I have some Facebook Live videos. If you jump back to February of 2020, on the Homeschooling Well Facebook page, about that are called "Don't Lose Yourself in the Season of Homeschooling." They're great tips for how you can take care of yourself while you're homeschooling. And again, I think it's so important because of what I've already said a couple of times. I think that you are the most important person or member of your homeschool, because you run the show. Everything, if you are having a bad day, your kids are having a bad day, your husband's having a bad day, whatever is going on with you is rubbing off on everybody else. And it's really important to not lose yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself properly, you're going to get burned out no matter what you're doing. You might have been burned out in the season of having your babies, adoption season. You know what I mean. When you're not taking care of yourself, you just get burned out. So homeschooling is no different. It's a lot of work as well, a lot of wonderful work, but it's easy to get burned out if you're not taking care of yourself. So I really encourage you. Again, there's I have some videos, and there's some notes that go with the videos that you can check out on the Homeschooling Well Facebook page under the videos button. And then the absolute last part of taking care of yourself is community, joining a community, joining an in-person community, which I know we cannot do right now, but I'm hoping at some point in time during this school year, you can join an in-person community. If you can't, and even if you find a local community that doesn't work for you, at least find one family that you can be friends with. You probably have that family already. Most people don't choose to homeschool in and of themselves. They usually get the idea because their friends are doing it, or their family, their sister-in-law, their sister are already doing it. So just have one family at the very least that you can be friends with, that you can spend time with, and that you can socialize with. You need to know that you're not alone in this homeschooling journey. There are other families who are doing it every single day. And you can support each other, and you can talk to each other when you need answers, and you have questions, and you have all kinds of things rattling on if you're getting tired. You can lean on each other for support. So it's really important to find that community. You can, at this moment right now, get your community online, and I really, really encourage you to do that. There are so many, I want to say thousands of homeschooling Facebook pages, and that's not the same as an Instagram account. Let me just be clear. Sometimes the social media of Instagram um, can be detrimental to your homeschooling, because you can get caught up in what other people are doing, and you really want to focus on your unique homeschool and what you're doing. The Facebook groups are more supportive. It's where you can ask questions and receive guidance, and you can get a lot of moms saying, I've been through that too, don't worry about that. And it's just amazing. So a good place to start is you can look up your county and look for whatever Facebook groups are in your county. And then beyond that, you can go with Facebook groups that are of the same faith as you. You can look for Facebook groups if your child has a special needs issue. If they have a learning difference, you can find Facebook groups specifically for that, and you can talk to families that know what you would need specifically in your homeschool. And there's homeschooling Facebook groups for families that are large families, families with one child. So you can find any kind of community that you're looking for specific to your homeschooling needs. So I encourage you to just search in Facebook and find those groups. So that's it for me today. I don't want to go too long, and I've already gone longer than I wanted to. But again, I really encourage you to grab that resource, How to Get Started Homeschooling, and work through that. And I don't leave you just with that one resource. That I had too much information that I wanted to pack into it. So if you receive that and you sign up for that with your email, you will receive in stages some emails that provide for you some other resources. I'm going to be sending out sample. I don't want you to copy them, but I'll be sending out sample homeschool schedules that can just give you an idea of what might work for you, things like that. I'll be sending out some book resources if you want to read some homeschooling books to help you get started, some podcast resources. So in slow bits, as to not overwhelm you, I promise. I'll be sending that your way as well if you sign up for that guide. So I hope this was helpful. You can always send me any emails that you want, any questions that you have through the Facebook page, or to info@homeschoolingwell.com. And I would love to talk to you. It's my favorite thing in the whole entire world, and I love to talk. And so I just really wish you luck on this journey. If you're still making the decision, I wish you luck in your decision. And I just wish you all the best. I will talk to you later.